right, well, we'll go ahead and get this started. People will slowly join, and as always, we'll put this on our YouTube channel and post a recap afterwards. But excited to get in. We have Allie here from Hipcamp, and Courtney, our customer service manager, will be leading this. Excited to hear from both of you guys.
Perfect. Thank you, Bree. So today, this week's webinar is uh, Reach, Reserve, Repeat, how Hip Camp with Staylist can bring more campers to your park. So today, like Bree just said, we have Allie, who is a part of the Hip Camp team that's here going to be telling you guys all about ways to obviously increase bookings, which increases your occupancy, which ultimately increases your revenue by using Hip Camp as an OTA through your park. So for starters, we're just going to talk about Hipcamp. Allie, if you just want to introduce yourself, tell us what Hipcamp is and how it's different from other OTAs.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and we're really happy to be here. Really happy to finally make this happen. Courtney, it was so great to get to meet you down in South Carolina. It's always great hanging out with the Staylist team. We love you guys, and yeah, I just think this is going to be a great thing for Staylist parks. We already have a number of Staylist parks that use HipCamp, but they use it without the integration. So we are excited to be announcing that there will soon be an integration with Staylist and HipCamp. And yeah, I'm Allie. I live in northern Maine, and I am the manager of supply acquisition on the campground side for HipCamp. And I think just back to your question, Courtney, what makes us kind of different from other OTAs? I think it's really kind of our origin story. When we started about 12 years ago, we always had a dream of being the one place you could go to find all the camping online. But we really faced a big problem. Most campgrounds at that time were not using a PMS. If they were, it was pretty fragmented. So we really had no way of bringing everyone together. But we decided to focus at that point on private land inventory. We partnered with farms and ranches, and that really helped us build the most unique and diverse group of campers that are exclusive to HipCamp. Over the last few years, that's completely changed. We have seen more campgrounds adopting a centralized PMS software like Staylist, and this has allowed us to operate more like an OTA. So we're very similar to Booking.com, but our primary focus is on the outdoors. Anything that brings people outside, we list on HipCamp. That includes RV sites, tent sites, cabin stays, glamping, and pretty much everything in between.
Perfect. So tell us like what the typical Hipcamp, guest or customer is. What are they looking for in a camping experience?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the unique approach that we took to building HipCamp has really helped us amass this huge audience. We actually have 7 million people globally that use HipCamp. Our strongest market happens to be here in North America, and our audience really skews heavily toward the younger generation of campers. That's mainly millennials. Over 75% of our community is under the age of 55. And these folks are typically coming from urban environments, which usually means that their household income is higher. In fact, just over 58% of our audience household income is over 100 grand. That
Wow.
means they've got deeper pockets and are looking really for the type of inventory that Stayless campgrounds offer.
Perfect. So what is, so we talk about obviously, demographics and all that and how it weighs into us as, park owners and operators, how we can do that. What is HipCamp's reach today?
Yeah. Well, we've amassed quite a large reach. We have 200 million visitors to our app and website each year. And a fun little fact is a hip camp gets booked every 30 seconds, every day, all year long. So really big reach.
Every 30 seconds. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Every
I didn't
30
know
seconds.
that actually.
Yeah, we're pretty proud of that one.
Yeah, I would be. I'd be putting that on everything, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, camping is all over. We have couples, we have solo travelers, we have families, snowbirds, you know, all kinds of different parks are open seasonally, some are open year round. So what kind of particular age group do you guys target most of the time when it comes to, what Hip Camp can provide?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I just mentioned, we really have the lion's share of millennials. This means our audience is super tech savvy. You have to remember that this demographic, like us, I mean, we use our phones for everything. ordering food, banking, Uber, now even
Right.
camping.
Hmm.
So that's really why we focused building our own app to get people outside. We found that you really only, like nowadays, you really only have a few seconds to capture someone's attention and
Right.
convert them. And that's really what we've got really good at. In terms of how travelers go, who we typically see, a lot of couples, a lot of families who tent in RV camp. And our fastest growing segment is actually road trippers. So we have people who are out on the road. They're looking for that place to stay when they're on the road trip. They open up their Hipcamp app, and you're right there in front of them, and they book that. Um, Another fact, 43% of our community camps more than 5 times a year. So we also have those frequent campers, those people who want to get outside multiple times a year. They open up Hipcamp, they book their next site. So yeah, I mean, it's something we've really been working on is attracting those frequent campers, and when we definitely have that demographic that uses us. And then we have pet friendly. That's our most used filter on Hipcamp. I know you as a park operator, Courtney, you probably see that as well. I mean, the more
Yep.
pet friendly you can make your listing or your campground, the happier people are.
Exactly. Well, and you touched on, basically last minute camping.
Yeah.
And I know that talking to a lot of Staylist parks, and throughout the industry, that's what we're seeing a lot more of is people who are either going from location to location, and picking up these last minute bookings. So having an outlet like HipCamp to be able to put your campground out there saying, "Hey, stay with me," is an awesome way to be able as another marketing tactic, obviously, for your park in general. So can you show us like how Hip Camp looks from like a camper's point of view? Like if I'm doing this last minute booking or I'm trying to find, somewhere to stay, what am I looking at? What does it look like to me as a camper, as a traveler?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just going to share my screen here. Let me know if you see that.
I
Do you see
can,
that?
yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. So this is Malibu RV Park. This is one of our gold standard hip camps. They've done really, really well with us, and I think a few reasons as to why they've done so well. We can really look at their photography. I mean, that's the first thing that you kind of notice when you open their listing up. They've got a great representation of the park as a whole, different camping styles that they offer. This is actually one of my favorite photos here. So this one was actually taken by our head of design, Julian, and this was his office for the day, if you can imagine that.
Wow.
So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So he snapped that photo. He's got a rooftop tent on top of his truck, and yeah, so we put that one front and center. So definitely photography. We have journal articles on Hipcamp about taking great photography. So I mean, if you're looking for if you don't necessarily have the resources for professional photography, it's definitely a great resource to go and look on Hipcamp and find that article. The second thing that they've done really well is they have a great description. I mean, it's brief property overview that they have, but it kind of lists out exactly what to expect. And then if you actually go into the site level details, it lays out perfectly what a camper should expect at that site. So they can look at it, they can see, okay, is my vehicle going to fit there? Is this what I'm looking for? They have great snapshots of the site itself. So we definitely recommend getting those site level photos as well as a great site description.
Yeah,
And
we've talked on a webinar, previously about how
yeah,
photography really just drives bookings. It drives conversion rates. And I mean, Malibu does a great job of it. You see exactly what you're getting. You know what your camper is going to look like when you pull in, and obviously the description alone, of their park too is extremely helpful. Are there any more ways for like through this to drive more bookings that you guys see, throughout your parks?
yes. Reviews. Make sure that when you are having guests stay, whether it's through Staylist, whether it's through Hipcamp, whether you're using the integration or not, please focus on your reviews. These mean everything. On Hipcamp itself, it's going to automatically push you up in the search rankings. The more reviews you have, the better you're going to perform in search.
That's
Um,
awesome.
Yeah, and another cool, interesting thing that we do on Hipcamp is we actually take snippets of reviews that people give and we add them to your property highlights. And this is
Oh,
all done
cool.
through AI. So yeah, it just kind of gives you general vibe, pets, amenities, that sort of thing. And this is all done automatically from generating reviews.
Fantastic. I love that. Yeah, I mean, and it even tells you all the categories that they have to offer.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I actually think that it also plays into your property overview up here as well. So,
Oh, and it says like hip campers say, oh, so it really does pull in what, what other
yep.
people have seen, experienced, and all put that on your site. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Are there, is there any parks that you see like with during peak times or last minute availability, how stay or how Hip Camp can help with that?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I'll stop sharing my screen here, but yeah, absolutely. So midweek and off-season periods, they're definitely harder to fill. I
Right.
know you probably definitely know that as a park operator. But I think on HipCamp we actually see that as a huge opportunity. 57% of bookings on HipCamp happen during those quieter times. So using HipCamp is definitely a great opportunity to fill these nights. Also think that pricing is a big one. So you're going to want to make sure you're offering midweek discounts and taking advantage of dynamic pricing tools that I know Staylist offers.
Right.
Uh, yeah, so um, another strategy that we see really successful, at least here, like in the Northeast, fall foliage is a big one. So event marketing,
Right.
running your own events. Don't just celebrate Halloween once. Try it every weekend in October. Do a Halloween theme experience. I think I heard you do a talk on this, perhaps
Yes. Yep.
in South Carolina. Yeah,
And the thing is, whenever you have certain events or times, that's obviously an extra way to grow, you know, guests to your site. So, by showcasing that on HipCamp too, because as an operator, we have the availability, correct, to update that as we see, like, if we wanted to add events in our About Me or anything like that, we can add takeaway pictures to really promote during those types of seasons, correct? Awesome. I love that. So for parks that are using Staylist, how easy is it to get started with HipCamp?
5 or 10 minutes of your time. That's all it takes.
5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Wow.
5 or 10 minutes. Yeah. All you need to do is reach out to either myself or Dan, who's on the line today. We'll get the connection established, connect in the back end, reach out to your Staylist rep as well as an alternative route. Um, Only thing that you need to do is map your units. That just tells us what sites you want to give to HipCamp. Again, maybe 5 minutes of your time. After that, 2 or 3 days, your listing will be live and bookable on HipCamp.
And the listing that you see, you take all that information off of our website.
Everything off of your website, unless there's anything you want to send us to add to your listing, we certainly can personalize it any way that you'd like.
Fantastic. I love that. So, like calendar syncing, obviously, we don't want to go from HipCamp to Staylist and take the bookings that are on HipCamp and move them to Staylist. How does a calendar syncing work? We don't want double bookings or anything like that. So, can you kind of explain to us how that works?
Yeah, absolutely. So calendar syncing is all going to be done through the new API connection. It means that all your pricing and availability you have inputted into Staylist in real time, it'll show up on Hipcamp.
Love
So
that.
yeah, because we have this real time availability, you're not going to see double bookings. They just don't happen. And the connection that we have with Staylist is very strong, very tested. So we're confident in this.
I love that. And so, I know it can be scary sometimes moving to something else and not knowing how it's exactly going to work. So can parks limit how many sites they put on HipCamp or is it, their entire portfolio?
Yeah, absolutely. Always up to you what you want to list on Hipcamp. We see parks start small, they only list a few sites. Others choose to list their entire park. We see operators use Hipcamp. They might just have a few sites that they want help booking. It could be tent sites, for instance. We see a lot of people say, "Hey, I get a lot of RVers, but I'd love to see more tent campers. And are you able to list that?" And the answer to that is yes. You can start as big, as small as you'd like. You can list however many units you want to list.
Fantastic. So we're like really like taking guest experience, guest expectations, and putting them on Hipcamp. So it's going to differentiate, which is what you showed us on Malibu, right? The different types of categories and the different types of listings that we as stay list operators can provide to our guests through Hipcamp.
Yeah, anything that gives people access to the outdoors, we list on Hipcamp. And that's really what makes Hipcamp magic is, it could be anything.
Fantastic. And I know just from the back end of Hipcamp, you get emails saying that you have a booking through Hipcamp. You get notifications and I guess chat. Is that what you guys call it?
Yeah.
And so people can ask questions regarding any of your sites. So it's like real-time communication that you can have with guests as well through Hipcamp side as an operator. So everything's at your fingertips. It's pretty nice
Yeah.
getting that extra marketing, getting that extra touch, when it comes to people and customers that you might not have ever reached or touched before. Being able to drive that booking or grab that new client that uses Hipcamp to be able to come to your park and stay longer or maybe book again.
Yep. Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Yep.
So what's next for Hipcamp? Do you guys have anything exciting up the pipeline or what operators should be aware of?
Yeah, I mean, really, we're pacing to have the best year ever. We're really excited what that means for campgrounds as a whole. In terms of our campground business, we've already seen a 40% increase in year over year bookings versus 2024. It's
Wow.
only so
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I was gonna say. It's only June. That's amazing.
yeah. So I think we're just going to continue to develop the tools that help park owners operations, and we're just going to continue to invest our marketing dollars back into the campground industry because we know that it's a fit for Hip Camp. We really do.
Love that. And
Yeah.
and that's the thing. Like as an operator, as a, even a park owner to for some of you that are park owners on here, you know, being able to chat, listen, and experience different ways to get your park out there. You know, there's no better way, right, to increase occupancy with different tools that you can obviously add to your stay list experience as well. Um, so if someone today on this webinar was like, I want to turn Hipcamp on, what's one thing that you would advise them to be successful when it comes to using Hipcamp?
Get the new Staylist Hipcamp integration. It's gonna be great. That I mean, honestly, it really helps with operations. Um, you are gonna see with Hipcamp, 98% of hip campers that come to your property, they're gonna be net new. So it's really the most cost-effective way to market your campground and attract new users. And with this new connection, it's going to make it really simple and streamlined for you to operate your park with it.
Seamless, effortless. Like that's
Yep.
what we want, right? We don't want anything that's going to be more stressful, especially in the midst of summer. I know that all the owners and operators right now on the webinar, I'm sure that they're like, oh my gosh, 1 o'clock, it's the middle of my day. But thank you guys so much for coming on here and listening to what we have to offer, what Hip Camp has to offer, because let me tell you, adding more of these tools to, your daily is just going to be so stellar for your campground. I know firsthand my park uses Hip Camp, and we have seen an increase in bookings as well. So, kudos to you guys. And we're super excited, obviously, to what's in store and obviously the integration within Staylist to be able to provide you guys with all that access at your fingertips is seamless and effortless, like I said. I'm gonna share my screen now. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, good. So you guys can scan this QR code, connect with Allie, visit Hipcamp's website, and let's, try to reach and explore a new guest. So I guess we'll open up the floor for some Q&A, see if anybody has any questions in the chat.
Courtney, if you could possibly just walk through what people need to do to activate that integration with Hipcamp. Like, do they reach out to you or support? What's the best way to get to
Yeah, for sure. You guys can definitely reach out to me and then I will get that taken care of for you. It's quick and easy. Soon it's going to be completely seamless and you guys can do it by yourselves. Which whenever that is, ready and prepared, then we will push that out to you guys. But yeah, shoot me an email. Bree, if you want to put my email in the chat, that would be great. And then we can get you set up on ChanX and then get you rolling with Hipcamp.
Absolutely. I'm putting your email in the chat, but oh, there's a question, Courtney, if you see that.
Sean, whenever you're ready, we can get you connected on ChanX and we will be ready to rock and roll. So I have your email, Sean, so I can go ahead and shoot you an email after this is done.
Awesome. Does anyone have additional questions?
Allie, I think we crushed it. I think we answered everyone's questions.
I think so too.
I love it. Well, fantastic. Allie, Hipcamp team, thank you guys so much for being a part of this Staylist webinar. I know that it came with a plethora of information and advice, to our owners and operators here, and they can obviously push that on to their guests. So thank you so much, you guys. Please click on scan the QR code, connect with Allie. Let's get Hipcamp up and rolling so that you guys can drive those bookings.